Welcome back, everybody. This is our final run-through of Passage Through Mirkwood. This is the Tactics deck. If you haven't been following us here, we've been playing through the box of the revised set for Lord of the Rings. The card game, this is published by Fantasy Flight and designed by Nate French. And I went through the leadership deck, I went through the lore deck and the spirit deck, and now the tactics deck for the first scenario. Next Thursday, we'll finally move on to Ambush on the Anduin, I think it's called. Let me check that. And then we'll do the same thing. Leadership deck, lore deck, spirit deck, and then tactics deck. Journey down the Anduin. The playmat, once again here, thanks to Brian Raditz for providing that for us here on this channel. If you missed some of the other weeks and you haven't caught up on them, you can head to our playlists. There is an area for playlists for our Lord of the Rings playthroughs. Okay, we are playing solo here. Alright, let's get started. So we have our three heroes. We have Thalin, Legolas, and Gimli. Now Thalin's special ability is, while Thalin is committed to a quest, deal 1 damage to each enemy as it is revealed by the encounter deck. Legolas has a really neat ability, which first off is range. Doesn't do much for us here, I think, because that one's more focused on checking the rules here, on the when you're playing multiplayer, engage with another player. Yeah, so not much here. Anyway, sorry for the Jen tells me to try not to have dead air. And then after Legolas participates in an attack that destroys an enemy, place 2 progress tokens on the current quest. And then we have Gimli. Gimli gets +1 strength for each damage token on him. So we got a lot going on here. We got some neat abilities. Let's take our first 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then let's go ahead and take a look what we have. Some stuff that seems... We've got all events and attachments. Alright, we're hitting the ground running already. I promise I did shuffle. Okay. Last time I have to read this. Flies and spiders. Alright. You are traveling through Mirkwood Forest, carrying an urgent message from King Thranduil to the Lady Galadriel of Lorien. As you move along the dark trail, the spiders gather around you. We search the encounter deck for a forest spider and the old forest road. Then we flip. We need our 8 tokens on this. The nastiest things they saw were the cobwebs, dark dense cobwebs with threads extraordinarily thick, often stretched from tree to tree, or tangled in the lower branches on either side of them. There were none stretched across the path, but whether because some magic kept it clear, or for what other reason, they could not guess. And that is a quote from The Hobbit. All right. Okay. Let's draw a card. Oh, sorry, we gain resources first. Not that it really matters. 2, 3. Hold on a second. I may have set that up incorrectly. For setup, do you even start with resources? Token bank. I don't think you start with resources because you gain your resources here. I'm sorry about that. Hold on to those fingers over there, everybody. Okay, and then I draw a card. What did we get? Did we get an ally? No, we got another event. I swear I shuffled. I did. Alright, so the only thing I can really play that would be beneficial to me, attached to a hero, restricted. I think, yeah, restricted means I can only have 1 of them, or is it 2 of them? I remember looking that up because the Game of Thrones LCG, restricted meant on the table, I think. And with Lord of the Rings, it means something different. But I don't think they're doing much with Game of Thrones anymore on that one. Cannot have more than 2 attachments with the keyword on it. Okay. So I'm going to spend 1 resource. I'm actually going to put this on Legolas. Why? Because when he defeats enemies, he gets to put tokens on the quest, progress tokens on the quest. He gets a +1 strength when attacking orcs. After attached hero attacks and destroys an enemy, place 1 progress token on the current quest. So this is going to chain out. And I think that's really the best opportunity for what we've got going. And then a lot of these events, I'm going to wait until it's time to see kind of what happens. So right now, our threat started at 29. And I've played what I wanted to for the planning phase. So it's time to quest. We need 8 tokens on that card over there. The only deck right now that's been able to get past the first card was the leadership deck. And I know I told you all I'd be working on showing you what's in the base box and working with the pre-constructed decks. I am dying to deck build. So as soon as we do that, I'll be deck building. And then I find out we've got 4 new starter decks coming. So the Forest Spider and the Old Forest Road give us 3 threat to the quest. I think I'm going to send both Gimli and Thalin, because when Thalin, and this makes it an even 3, and when Thalin is committed to a quest, he gets to deal 1 damage to the enemies as they come out. Now, with it being only a single-player game, we're only going to turn over 1 card. And we have the Forest Gate. All right. Now, my plan, initially, and I take, that adds another 2 threats, so I have 5 against the 3 that I sent out, so I need to up my threat counter by 2. The plan that I had was I was going to travel to the Old Forest Road immediately and stand Gimli back up. But I think Forest Gate would allow us to draw 2 cards if we travel to it, which is where we are now. So that's tricky. I'd love to try to figure out a way to do that while standing people up. So let's see what we have in our hand. Exhaust a character you control with the ranged keyword to choose a player. Deal 1 damage to each enemy engaged with that player. Choose a player until the end of the phase. The character gains 1 strength and 1 defense. You must use resources from 3 different pools. We can't even play that one. If their character is declared as a defender, deal 2 damage to the attacking enemy. You know, we might be able to get away with doing this. So let's go ahead and travel to the Old Forest Road, because we might be able to get rid of the spider right away. And that'll allow us to put that on there. So I'm actually going to stand up Gimli. And the reason for that is he gets stronger with the more damage that gets put onto him. So now we have the engagements, the optional engagement, and then the engagement check. I'm just going to know that the spider's going to come at us, so I'm going to just put him down there. Because the spider has engaged with us this round, it is at a +1 strength. Okay. So now we're at the combat phase. Let's give our spider a shadow card. Okay. Then I'm going to choose a defender, and I'm going to use Gimli as the defender. Okay. We reveal the shadow card, and we have a shadow ability, which is attacking enemy gets +1, and it would have been +3 if it was undefended. So the spider's at 4. Gimli can block 2 of it, so Gimli's going to take 2 damage. This means Gimli's attack is now a 4. All right. And then I will play this, which is the Swift Strike. After a character is declared as a defender. Oh, declared as a defender. This should have been done a while ago. So I guess we skip that for now, because I just want to make sure I got everything in turn. Instead, I'm going to have Legolas attack the spider. Legolas has 3 strength, and this card gives him a 4. The spider has 4 hit points, but it has a defense. However, if I play Blade Mastery, choose a character until the end of the phase, that character gains +1 strength and +1 shield. And this is the combat phase. So I'm going to pay 1 resource. So Legolas now has 5 attacking the spider with 1 defense. The spider only has 4 hit points, so that is going to be discarded. Also, Legolas's ability allows us to put 2 progress tokens on the current quest. All right, so that's very helpful in the long run. And that's it. We're going to ready everybody. Now, if you've been joining me for these Lord of the Rings playthroughs and haven't been looking at the other solo board game stuff I've been doing, let me apologize. I did get a bout of seasonal allergies and my voice took a toll, so that's why I might sound a little more raspy than I usually do. Our threat increases after we stand everyone up. And then we go back. I would pass, this is the first time you're joining me, I would pass the first player token if I wasn't playing solo. Alright, so now I gain resources. 2, 3. And I draw a card. And I got another event. This is stand together. Choose a player. That player may declare any number of their eligible characters as defenders against each enemy attacking them this phase. Alright. That might be good if we have, like, as it's been going on, if Ungoliant Spawn pops up on us. If you haven't caught the past two, the Spirit and the Lore decks, Ungoliant Spawn usually comes out now. So, yeah, it's been fun. So we can plan. There's not much I want to plan because my entire hand is events. So let's just move on to questing. Once again, I'm going to put... Do I want to put Gimli on the quest? Right now we have 2 threat facing us. If Thalin goes on the quest, then he automatically will hit anything that comes out. I am very sorry. Legolas did not defeat the spider because, and we did not get these out there, because that was not an orc. But the spider has 3 damage on it. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. Please watch until the end of the video before you tell me my mistakes. Okay. Alright, so... yeah, let's do the same 2 again, and there might be a way that I can take on that spider. So I got 3, there's a 2 location out there, and we have a treachery card. Deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. This is the Necromancer's Reach. Alright, boom. Yeah, I forgot that knife was only when attacking orcs. That might come in handy in some of the later situations. So we have 3, 2 over there on the threat, so we get 1 progress token, but that's going to go on our location. Alright. So now we could, if we could travel, we would, but we still have an active location. And so the spider's going to come at us. So right now, I need to see if there's any way I can get a defender to stand. Actually, we're going to play this, which is Swift Strike. After a character is declared as a defender, and I'm going to have Legolas be declared as the defender, spend 2 resources, deal 2 damage to the attacking enemy. Alright, so I'll deal 2 damage to the attacking enemy, and that enemy is now defeated. Now, if I'm going to go by the order of things in the rule book, we're going to choose an enemy. Okay, so step 1 is to deal shadow cards. All right, and then it's choose an enemy, and then declare the defenders. So the shadow cards, to me, are out there before the defenders are declared. So in this case, I do believe the shadow card is discarded along with this here. Now, also, Legolas did not participate in an attack. Actually, no, technically, because it is resolve enemy attacks. Legolas did resolve in technically an attack. So he's going to put 2 tokens on the quest. 1, 2. Because that was, by definition, an attack. So nothing else left on the board. We're going to ready everybody. And move on to the next round. I will increase my threat. My hand is just over here for now. I will increase my threat. Don't you worry. There we go. I get to draw a card. Hoping for an ally here. And, well, no, it's a detachment. Which is a Dwarven Axe. Which would gain +1 no matter who you're attacking, but +2 if it's given it to a dwarf. Now this is very good to give to Gimli, and I'm probably going to start sending him out on, not sending him out on quests anymore. Sadly, we're just a little bunked up right now. I wish I could have an event in here that would let people stand. But then again, It could be something I could build, or it just could be something deep in the deck I haven't discovered yet. All right, so planning phase. Let's go ahead and put that on Gimli. Let's get 2 resources. All right, so now Gimli hits for 7. I'm not going to worry about... Yeah, we don't have much going on for questing. So yeah, let's commit Thalin to the quest. Let's commit Legolas to the quest. It only gives us 2. That overpowers that. So hopefully if it's another treachery card, we can handle it. And then nothing would go on our threat. Because once again, if you hit 50, then your threat goes up. And we have the Black Forest Bats. When revealed, each player must choose one character currently committed to the quest and remove that character from the quest. All right, sure. We're going to remove Legolas from the quest. And then this goes out. And because Thalin was part of the quest, 1 damage goes on the bats. All right. So now we travel. If we could. But anyway, we ended up having 3. Thalin was the only one committed to the quest, so we have to take 2 in threat. 1, 2. Okay. So now we would travel if we could, but we can't. So, optional engagement. I mean, optional or not, it's going to hit us. So, I am going to have Legolas... Oh, first off, shadow card. Legolas will defend. And actually, let's play that again. I have another one of these Swift Strikes. Well, do I really need to? They're hitting for 1. Yeah, I don't think I need to. So I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to hold on to that. And let's just flip. Because he did participate in an attack that destroyed an enemy. No shadow. And they hit for 1, and he's able to block it. Okay, Gimli's going to attack for 7, because he has 2, plus 2, 4, and then his 3 damage. So that makes it 7. The bats have a 0 0 defense, and they only have 2 hit points. Legolas did participate in an attack that... Wait, no, he technically didn't, did he? And I don't think this is... Yeah, no, that's not there either. I'm trying to stretch the boundaries because we haven't gotten past this first card with any of the other 3 decks. The leadership's the only thing that's helped. Oh boy. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. All right. So, threat goes up to 36. And now we're back to the top. I'd love an ally. Allies would help me out. Hey! And I think I've got enough here. This would be a great waste of resources. Because it's Beorn. And Beorn gains plus 5 strength until the end of the phase. At the end of that phase in which you trigger this effect, shuffle Beorn back into your deck. So I can keep him out there and then wait for which one. So yeah, let's go ahead. We're going to just use all of the resources we've got. Is this a mistake? Probably. And I'll put him out there. But it would allow for me to... Let's see. Thalin will go on the quest. And we'll put Gimli on the quest, because we've got 2 there already. And we have the Great Forest Web at 2. So we committed 3. 4 is out there now, so we increase our threat by 1. Okay. And no enemies came out, so nothing happens. We cannot travel, because there's an active location already. There's no enemies to defend, so we just go right back to ready. Alright, hoping a Gandalf might show up soon. Then again, I don't have enough resources to play a Gandalf. And I draw a card. There we go, that's what I want to see. So plus 4 hit points. But I need 4 resources to do it. So that's going to sit in my hand for a little bit. Okay. Alright, so I'm not going to do any planning. So let's go ahead and commit to the quest again. And part of me just wants to commit everyone to try to just get past some of this. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 4 out there right now. Still wouldn't help with the Old Forest Road. But Beorn would be able to do that. And you know what? I think... Yeah, I'm just hoping something pops up in this deck. I know I'm committing less than what's out there, but that's only to hinder the threat going up. And we have the Dol Guldur Orcs, which, when revealed, the first player chooses one character currently committed to the quest, deal 2 damage to that character. Let's do Thalin, but he gives them a damage. So they have 2, we only committed 3, so we're going to take, there's 6 out there now, so, is this 6? Yep, 6 out there now, 1, 2, 3. You know, it's funny, I played this game tons of times, and I'm going to be honest, the times I've won are where I'm just, trying out decks. So, of course, the times I'm recording, I lose terribly. So let's see. I'm just logging this play. There we go. Okay. So the Dol Guldur can't travel. The Dol Guldur Orcs are going to engage. I'm going to have Beorn defend. Sorry, no shadow card. Beorn will defend because I'll have because they're orcs. So Legolas has a 4. Is there a shadow? No shadow. All right, so they deal 2. He has a defense of 3. Legolas will attack for 3. They have a defense of 0, already 1 wound from Thalin, and they will be out. He participated in an attack that destroyed an enemy. So, finally, 2 progress tokens are going down on the card. And that's that for the round. Excuse me. I'll take a drink in a second. Yes, I will put my thread up. My hand is just right here for a second. There we go. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. I think that leadership deck might be one of the better ones out of the box. But then again, out of all of them, I've won the most with the lore deck, mainly because they have that ability to just freeze enemies with that attachment. Okay, draw a card. We got anything good? Let's find out. Boop! Another Dwarven Axe. Okay, so I definitely want to give this to Gimli, because if he can get his hit points really up there, he'll be almost unstoppable. Now, here's the thing. He now has 2 restricted items on him, which means I cannot put a 3rd restricted item on here. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to put out? I want to save some stuff for events, so let's just do that. Okay. We have 4 threat out there. I wish we had something that would just give more questing. Perhaps this is a better deck to play with more people. But let's go ahead and do Thalin and Gimli. Beorn is nice to have. You know what? Let's... Oh, how bad would it be? Legolas is at full health, and Gimli just got 4 hit points. So you know what? We're gonna commit everybody to the quest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 4 out there, and we get another location. So they're at 6, so we take one threat. Nothing to do. Let's stand everybody back up. I think the lore deck also has the characters that let you place progress tokens on the locations and staging area, which is pretty nice. Looking into some of the stuff, this tactics deck is notoriously difficult. It's definitely one you've got to build on. Let me show you something here. I went to my FLGS, and Actually found the whole Mirkwood cycle from the original edition, because the rulebook says you can get the original stuff and it would still work fine. But now I hear they've got, with one of the 2 new packs coming out, they've got 2 scenarios that were promos. So let me raise my threat. Forgot to do that. Draw a card. Boom. Hey, it's an ally. Maybe this will help handle some stuff. So let's play that card. Doesn't have any special abilities. It's just a veteran axe hand. Gives me 2 strength and 1 defense with 2 hit points. Might be good to kind of soak up an attack of some sort. And the cat wants to get in the way. All right. Put you down. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting messed up by the deck here. Okay, so let's see what we can do. We've got 6 out there. I've only got 5 that can be sent on the quest. I'm always going to send Thalin just in case an enemy pops up. Let's go ahead and send... Because if I commit nothing, the game is over. I'll hit 50 threat. Let's go ahead and commit Gimli. So at least 3 is out there, because I'm worried Ungoliant Spawn's going to pop out. And if that's the case, Beorn can really mess stuff up. And we have an East Bite Patrol, which adds 3. So now it's 6, 9. I committed 3, so that's 6, and that's it. This is probably my shortest play of the game, at least on camera, because I hit 50. Now let me check and see that if it's 50 threat at any time or 50 threat at the end of a round. Let's see here. Just if the threat dial ever reaches 50. Oh, you're loving the camera today. All right, folks. Well, that is it. The rumors I heard are true. The tactics deck is tricky. That is the last run through for Passage Through Mirkwood I've got for Lord of the Rings. Next week we're going to do leadership on the Journey Down the Anduin, and from that, this is how it's going to go for 4 weeks. We'll do that, and then 4 weeks for the last one, and then I'll give you an update, because I really just wanted to show you what was in the base box of the revised edition. And once we get past all of that, I can show you other stuff. So if you have been interested in this game and you're watching my playthroughs of it, I apologize, because I know I mess up. There's a lot going on here. But I hope that you've been able to learn some stuff too, and that you've been able to kind of figure out what you want to do with this, and if this is the right purchase for you. I think it's a really neat game, especially if you wanted to play Marvel Champions but weren't attracted to that theme. I know I just probably committed a grave sin by admitting that on the internet. And also same thing with Arkham Horror. If the theme just doesn't grab you, I think this is a really nice game to try and fill that void. So, all right, we'll see you next time, everybody. Actually, you know what? Join me up at the table in about 10 seconds, and I'll tell you my thoughts about this scenario. See you soon, everybody. All right, so that was the playthrough of the tactics deck for Lord of the Rings, and that's Passage Through Mirkwood, which is the first scenario in the base box. Now, one thing I do like is, and I'm not sure if they'll continue this, I hope they do, because I bought a bunch of the other of Mirkwood packs in that first cycle, and every scenario lists the difficulty level, which I think is great, because then I can figure out how I want to deck build. Like I said, I'm dying to deck build, and maybe I'll have a day where I just film all of them at once, and I can finally start deck building and doing the rest of the stuff. But I did say I was going to bring you the full revised set first, and then I would do some of the other stuff. Granted, I heard that we've got the other pre-builds coming out. I think I'm just ready to start deck building at this point. So that was the tactics deck. It is every bit difficult as I expected it to be. Yeah, and so let me kind of go over my thoughts on the scenario. I like the scenario. It's a really great introduction to the system. It is a level 1 difficulty, which is interesting because, as you saw, the people who got the furthest was the leadership deck. And that's the one with Aragorn, Theodred, Oh my goodness, the last person's escaping me, and they're all tied up in the box. Elasticed up in the box. But oh, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna just look it up. But anyway, they made it the furthest, and leadership deck, LOTR. No, because I'm going to get a bunch of different deck builds on the internet. So I'm just going to open it up. So it was Aragorn, it was Theodred, and it's not the Glorfindel one. That's lore. So here it is. Aragorn, Theodred, and Gloin. I knew there was a dwarf in there. They made it the furthest, but they had some stuff, and I know I played something incorrectly with that one. I forgot that with Lord of the Rings, there's a symbol next to certain titles of things, and you can only have one of that on the board at a time. Excuse me. So, but they did make it the furthest. And I want to say that was because, and this is just completely how card games work, everybody. Ungoliant Spawn came out as a shadow card very early. And because of that, they didn't have to worry about Ungoliant Spawn popping up. They were able to get through and get enough progress markers on the quest to get to the point where they just pulled Ungoliant Spawn out of the discard, because that was the quest that they pulled. However, in the end, they just barely missed. They could not get it going where they would kill the spider. But when it came to the lore deck and the spirit deck, Ungoliant Spawn came out early and really kind of messed up the board. As far as the leadership deck, not leadership, tactics, so lore, spirit, and tactics, all three of them couldn't get past the first card. Two of that was because of Ungoliant Spawn coming out right away. The tactics deck struggled because all that was coming out were locations, and the tactics deck struggles with questing. And one of the things that when I do deck build, I'm going to be looking for with tactics is getting more questing out there. Thalin is great to quest because any enemy that comes out gets a damage, but that doesn't happen because every time you come into a quest, a location came out instead. So each deck had their own little things that hindered them from moving forward. And while a lot of people would say, oh, I really don't like that, one thing I really liked is now I know, looking forward, what I've got to do with those decks to make them successful. So, looking forward to deck building, I'm still going to run the pre-constructed decks through the rest of the scenarios. So, the question that I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask is, should I get into this if I've never played an LCG before? This is a hard one. This is a really hard one. I think your best bet for an LCG, if you're just starting out, is still Marvel Champions. I think it's the most streamlined out of the whole system. I think it's the most accessible right now. It's got the most stuff for it. That is, unless you have an FLGS that happens to have one of everything for all of the Lord of the Rings stuff. Then there's tons of stuff for this. But if you're looking for a cooperative LCG, I would consider Marvel Champions if you've never played an LCG before. Now, Matt, I don't like Marvel. First off, very brave thing to say on the internet right now. So what I would suggest at that point is, do you want fantasy or horror? Now, Jen and I played Arkham Horror. We thought it was fine, but it made us want to go back to Lord of the Rings because so much of Arkham Horror reminded us of Lord of the Rings, and we definitely like the Lord of the Rings theme more. So if you are a huge Tolkien fan and you are, well, for the first few, played Journeys to Middle-earth and liked it or didn't like it, this is perfect for you. Just enjoy playing Lord of the Rings based games such as War of the Ring, Battle of Five Armies. I wish there was a Rising for Lord of the Rings. But anyway, that's just don't pay attention to me. I'm rambling at this point. This is a really neat game, and what I like about it is that I know that I'm going to be engaged with it. I learned a lot within the 4 weeks of running this game. I've learned what I need to look for in deck building, not just in the deck itself, but I learned a lot about what I need to look at when I'm looking at other scenarios. I knew when I started the tactics scenario up today, and I looked at all of their willpower for questing. I was like, we're going to lose right away, because there wasn't enough to overcome much of anything in that first round. You start Passage Through Mirkwood with 3 threat on the board, and you need to overcome it, or else it's just going to start piling up. That's what happened. Now, sometimes in the first round of Passage Through Mirkwood, you can get by that by saying, okay, well, you know what, let's just even out the threat, and then the spider will engage with us, unless you're playing Spirit and you optionally engage with the spider. And then we travel to the Old Forest Road, and then we can ready somebody. And that gives you a nice little advantage, because that's what the Old Forest Road does. However, when it came down to the tactics deck, knowing that we were going to have to fight against the spider, it was tough making that call. Sure, always throwing Gimli in defense is a good option for at least the first few rounds, because he just gets stronger and stronger. But there wasn't much in that deck that helped me traveling to locations. There wasn't much in that deck helping me quest. With the lore deck, there's one unit that helps with putting progress tokens on the active location. There's one unit that helps put progress tokens on locations in the staging area. With the leadership deck, there's extra questing that can happen. People coming out add quest tokens to the deck or add damage to enemies. Even the spirit deck, Eowyn herself, can be a beast if you just start discarding cards and putting extra attachments on her that allow her to quest harder. And then you can have the other two really just focusing on defeating enemies. You even have Eleanor, who you exhaust Eleanor, and then she can get rid of the shadow ability, I think. Or is it a one revealed? It's one or the other, one revealed or shadowed. Granted, I think you have to do another one. But still, there's some good stuff. And then you get to tactics, and you're just kind of like, eh. Oh, with leadership, you have Theodred, which he can give a resource to somebody else who's committed on the core, or whoever gains a resource, he doesn't give it. And then Aragorn can spend a resource to stand back up before heading to the rest of the round. I just feel like the tactics deck is doomed to lose in a solo game. Okay? So, and of course, you open the box and any Lord of the Rings fan goes, oh my goodness, there's Legolas and Gimli in a deck together. And they're going to go, let me play that one first. It was just... And most Lord of the Rings fans, by the way, and my wife did this, saw the deck with Denethor in it, and she almost ran for the hills. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just more discussion on characters. Now, I talked to some people who've played Lord of the Rings. There's people who absolutely adore this game. And then there are the people who don't like it. A friend of mine said that there's never been a game he dislikes more because... not because the game is difficult, he said, but because your entire game is based on the scenarios. He doesn't want to have to constantly deck build for scenarios. He says, I have my good Spider-Man deck for Marvel Champions. I might have to modify it slightly to beat up this villain, but not by much. So he feels that he's built his Spider-Man deck perfectly. While in Lord of the Rings in the Lord of the Rings game, you could have a good leadership deck for that scenario. But you're told, here's the scenario, you have to completely change the deck. I haven't gotten there yet in my time with Lord of the Rings, so I don't know whether or not I agree with that. But I will say that for someone like me, who I'm not a huge fan of Marvel, so I tried Champions, and it reminded me of Lord of the Rings. And I was like, well, I hope they get it back off the ground again, because we got rid of our copy at first, and we did that because we had gotten so far behind. Just by purchasing it. I think we ended up purchasing it in 2014, and we were behind. We were just completely behind. And with the game coming out in 2011 and stuff constantly being put out by Fantasy Flight, there was just no catching up. We had played the Game of Thrones LCG a long time ago, and we did not keep up with that either. We got the house boxes, but none of the smaller decks that were coming out. And we even deck built with that. But Jen has gotten to a point in her life where she doesn't want to deck build. She said she will play this game with me if I deck build for her. So we'll see what happens there. It is a co-op. So the big question, like I said, and I'm not sure if I've even answered it, is should you buy this? If you want to get into a commitment that you're unsure about, definitely try it first. And try it with the base game. Because if you try it with somebody who's got everything, they're going to have perfect decks. They're going to have all the puzzles figured out as far as deck building when it comes to what you need to defeat and all that stuff. Find someone who has the base game that hasn't deck built, so when you buy your base game, if you liked it, then you're not going, how was I able to defeat the scenario so easily with the other person? That's because they had everything, and that they were able to defeat stuff easily. So that would be my recommendation. And if you love Lord of the Rings, first off, the artwork is gorgeous in this game. I can't recommend it highly enough based on the artwork alone. But the game itself is really neat, and I actually feel that it's rather thematic to all of this. Yeah, I mean, you're traveling through Mirkwood. There's tons of spiders. I always felt like there were spiders just hounding me. When the passage down the Anduin, I know you start out with a hill troll right away on the board. It's going to be interesting. So, as far as, yes, I do recommend Lord of the Rings, the card game. I do recommend this game highly. I think within the month I've played it 20 times. And as far as the passage through Mirkwood, it's a good way to learn. And it's a good way to see what you need to do to some of your decks just to make them work. So that's going to be it for me. After the 4-week play of Journey Down the Anduin, I'll do my thoughts on that scenario and also give you the idea of when you go from level 1 difficulty to level 4, how much now do you need to focus your efforts on learning how to deck build for this game. So thank you for joining me here for this final little roundup on the first 4 weeks, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.